It's 1:04, 1:05. I call the meeting to order. Chief, can you little drum roll or something?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay, roll call. Ian, Marchie, Matt, Lola, Chief Stevenson, Dugue, Sarah, Lincoln, and Deep. At this point, as we initiate this meeting, it is the meeting where the board is electing officers to the board, and there will be a swearing in. We have two new members to our board, and we welcome Mr. Mayor and Noah Kenny to our board formally, and Sarah will ask you to take the oath that goes along with the position. So I ask Sarah to start, please.
Your shoemaker. Read.
Thank you. I, Mayor Matthew Shoemaker, solemnly swear that I will be loyal to Her Majesty the Queen and His Majesty the King as well, and that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge my duties as a member of the Sault Ste. Marie Police Service Board faithfully, impartially, and in accordance with the Police Services Act and any other regulation, rule, or bylaw. So help me God. I, Mayor Matthew Shoemaker, solemnly, ooh, that's a tricky one. Let me try that from the top. I, Mayor Matthew Shoemaker, solemnly swear that I will not disclose any information obtained by me in the course of my duties as a member of the Sault Ste. Marie Police Service Board, except as I may be authorized or required to do so by law. So help me God.
Thank you. I, Nuala Kenny, solemnly swear that I will be loyal to Her Majesty the Queen and His Majesty the King and to Canada, and that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge my duties as a member of the Sault Ste. Marie Police Services Board faithfully, impartially, and according to the Police Services Act and any other act and any regulation, rule, or bylaw. So help me God. And I, Nuala Kenny, solemnly swear that I will not disclose any information obtained by me in the course of my duties as a member of the Sault Ste. Marie Police Services Board, except as I may be authorized or required by law. So help me God.
Welcome to the board.
Stressful, especially you.
Any conflicts of interest? Seeing none, we'll move on to the election of officers. As is customary, we usually do it by a show of hands, but we certainly will entertain any vote by paper if we so wish. Can I have a show of hands of doing it the old way, or we can do it by ballot as well? So
By
First-
hand, that's fine.
by hands, good?
Sure.
Yeah, we're all good. Okay. And at this point, I move the meeting to the chief.
I'll act as chair temporarily. Thanks for the opportunity, as I say every year. So, point number 5 on your agenda will be election of officers. So, vote out election or nomination for chair of the board, going once. Sir?
I nominate John.
Going twice. No further nominations. Then you all vote on it and say, we all want John to be chair. Show of hands. Gary, John as chair. Nominations for vice chair of the board. Nominations for vice chair of the board. John?
Nominate you.
Okay, second call for nominations for vice chair of the board. Hearing none, vote on, Ian McKenzie for vice chair of the board. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
I'm in Molly, if I've ever got anything unanimous.
I should.
It's okay, I just want to make note of that. No vote from,
She's continuing with.
I'd like to keep the decorum, yes. Nomination for, Community Safety and Policing Act, committee, sub vice committee chair, nominations to be in charge of the Community Safety and Policing Act. So what that is, just for everybody's knowledge, we have a new act brought in, by the Tory government last April, and there has been significant changes as a result of the act, both to board governance, to board, responsibilities, as well as to training and policing, to a variety of things. So we have a subcommittee that sort of keeps us up to speed, or keeps the board up to speed. We have Inspector Ben Bulldog that will work with whoever is nominated for that. And it's just sort of a liaison role to make sure that we're keeping up with Tom's world of changes to the act. The regulations are being passed sort of in the years to follow. So we like to have somebody watching that, and there is changes coming, so. Nominations for, I'll call it the chair of the subcommittee, Community Safety and Policing Act, going once.
you have a background in law, Nuala, would you?
Yeah, so does this one. Yeah, sure. I'd love that.
Okay, I would like to nominate Nuala, please.
Okay, one nomination. Any second nominations for the role? Hearing seeing none, Noella will be the chair of the subcommittee on the Community Safety and Policing Act. Thank you. Finance budget.
Nuala.
Noella, sorry.
I think I'm gonna change it back.
Okay, I made a note. Noella.
Like moolah.
Noella.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Nuala.
So,
And I will attend those meetings as well as we go as well, just to keep on top of things as well.
moving on to the Finance Budget Committee, looking for, sort of the chair of the subcommittee, looking for nominations. Chair of the Finance Budget Committee,
I'll nominate Matt.
Matt will be nominated. I ask for a second, nomination if possible. Notice how I just stare up into this
So
chart.
generally, we have, two board members
Yeah,
on the finance committee.
Are you putting your hand up to volunteer?
Yes.
The board chairs automatically.
Yeah, like I automatically.
alright, so
Okay,
we
so-
have two, so.
You need another still, yeah.
Yeah, another, if
I
we have
nominate
another volunteer, that'd be great.
Nominate Marchie, so, we have two. Any, okay, any opposed to that? Vote all in favor? Okay. Negotiating grievance committee. Now, we do not have, collective agreement, to worry about this year.
But next year, but
Next
we have
year
to
we do.
prepare this
But
year.
you need to prepare, just sort of give me a little context.
And we do have grievances. And I'll
So
nominate,
negotiate the grievance committee, I need a chair for that and a second well, both, two people called chairs, just a committee. Looking for nominations.
I'll nominate Marcy Burry.
Marchie is nominated, a second nomination.
Mm-mm.
And I'm on it as well, so.
Looking for a second. We have one so far in the chair, that'll be carried, I'll vote, carried, sorry, vote, carried.
And we can, yeah.
Yep, good.
Okay.
Looking for the police facility planning committee. As you know, this building is expensive and we have the second building that's gonna open, April 1st downtown. So we have a police facility planning committee simply because of the budgetary issues that go along with it. Looking for a nomination.
I'll nominate the mayor.
Mayor, okay, on the, Mr. Mayor, thank you. And a second name?
Nominate me.
I'll nominate Noah.
Hello, all in favor? Carried. Well, that was very stressful. I'm gonna have to give up my seat happily to the chair and provide some nice.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, board, for your support. Oh, you got enough here.
I'm good, thank you. No, I'm good, thank you.
Hey. Number 6, and I'm gonna ask the chief to give us a little background here, new board administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Lisa, who was my, executive officer, retired, um, last month of, December. And under the new act, the board secretary has to be independent from the organization, so she's no longer an employee. And the board held a competition. She applied and she got the position. She'd be here today, but she's taking a well-deserved 2-week cruise. So she'll be at your next meeting, which is end of
Be
February.
determined in February.
Yeah, so she comes with great organizational skills, I can say, because she was my EO for many years. She'll be very good for the board in terms of modernizing, being prepared for the act. A lot of things are now new that the board never had to do before. Keeping your training up to speed, organizing meetings, keeping notes, keeping records. On that note, when we move to the new building April 1st-ish, can I speak to who's moving or not? Yes?
If you'd like to.
Victim Services will be likely moving down there and she'll move into that office just over to the right. So all your board stuff will be in one area, locked. If you need to come in and do board work, you'll have a desk there, etc. So it'll be much more attuned to the future. And so we'll have that independence from the service. Yes, sir.
So the board meetings post-April or post whenever construction's finalized will be downtown?
No, you'll always have the meeting here, but her officer will be kept there in Victim Services. So like your books and all the records and the historical records that she's went through as well, will be all kept there under lock and key. So it'll be much more professional and it'll fit with the act, etc. So I applaud the board on their decision. I think it's an excellent decision for the organization and for Lisa. Anything further? Questions?
Any questions, comments? Thank you, chief. Please take a moment to look at the minutes from previous and if you have any questions and information arising out of the minutes, please let us know. Yeah, any question? Ian, Archie? No.
No,
Okay, seeing none. Adoption of minutes of December 2nd, 2024, and you, mover, Ian, a seconder, Archie, resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting as presented be hereby approved. All in favor? Motion to accept the agenda. I need a mover, Archie, I need a seconder, Nuala. It resolved that the agenda of the regular meeting as presented be approved as well. All in favor? Approved. Motion to move in camera. So our business is very limited and we will take a recess after a couple minutes and we'll get the media to speak to the chief.
Now
And
or later?
what do you need? 5, 10?
Mr. Chair, maybe what we'll do is you're gonna go into closed and then you're gonna back into open when I do the other. So probably best after that, because they'll want to ask questions about the second open, if that makes sense.
Okay,
It's up to your prerogative.
okay. I just following the routine. There.
Yeah.
Okay. Communication reports, chief. Start with special accounts ledgers.
In camera first, John.
Oh, we are.
Yes, we're gonna move to in camera now. We have members waiting.
Members waiting downstairs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I have a mover and a seconder for?
So you gentlemen will wait
You can go into my office if you
Yeah.
want. Have a seat at the table there. There's
Oh,
coffee.
cool.
Is it okay to the?
I'll take them out to the foyer, chief. We have a public space for them out.
That too.
Thanks for the office.
It's the openness of office, transparent.
Filing cabinet's unlocked.
I need a mover to go into
In camera.
camera, Ian, seconder, Matt. Resolved that the board agreed to adjourn the public portion of the meeting and in camera to discuss confidential items pursuant to section 44(2) of the Community Safety and Policing Act. All in favor? Approved. I'm going to start with the territorial acknowledgement because of the election. And I passed it for a second. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in the Robinson Huron Treaty Territory and that the land on which we are gathered, which is the traditional territory of the Shenandoah, specifically the Garden River and the Batchewana First Nation, as well as the Métis people. If you would move to number 10. 11. 11. Yeah.
Special account, thank you.
Yeah, so I'll start off there, Mr. Chair, if that's okay. Financial reports, you can see up on the screen behind you, sorry, but that's the document, and that's basically the board account ledger, and I won't spend a lot of time on it because there's been no activity up through there other than 2 cents increase on the interest. So there's no activity on the account. The next one is we talk about overtime. And what I'm going to show you is under 2024. So this is up until December of 24. And you can see in November, we had 79,000 in overtime, a little up in December to 92, down from this time last year, which was 87. When I bring you over to the ledger to the right, the running total, you see we're at 1.37. This time last year, we were at 1.16. Usually, I'll take you to the next one that shows staff shortages. You can see in December, our staff shortage overtime was 19,024, sort of consistent with November at 18, down from the busy travel months of basically May through October that are all around the 48, 30 range. Well, half the overtime from last year, this time, which was 31, down to 19. We go to the next one, which is staff shortage overtime. And you can see between November and December, relatively consistent. October 14, November 13, December 13. That's sort of the overtime for the month of December. Deputy, did you want to speak to any of the occurrences that we had significantly off the top of your head that usually draws this? So what I try to do is show you, okay, if it's up, where did it come from? And usually it's drug investigations, serious crime scenes that we hold for 2 or 3 days.
So, our CIB obviously has, was involved in a number of gun warrants that were through internal investigations, resulting in our ESU team being called out. Majority of gun warrants we do now are gonna result in a full team call out, which creates a lot of overtime for us. So our model for our tactical team is we have 3 members working. If we're gonna do a warrant, middle of the night, we get a warrant, you're calling the rest of that team back out. To do a warrant, we need 12 members. We can do them with less, but for officer safety purposes, we call every available member out. So we had 4, I believe, warrants, either drug or gun warrants during the month of December, which obviously creates overtime for us. We also have surveillance teams. Our drug unit is out doing surveillance prior to a warrant typically being executed. So where we start to see, much like what happened the other night, you're going to see an overtime spike because people are getting called up to scene security, provide technical support through gathering of video evidence. Our forensic unit will be called up. So anytime we have a major event, whether it be a drug warrant, a gun warrant, or a CID call out, And those kind of what we saw last event in November, beginning in December, were some of those major calls where we're doing you've either seized drugs and now you have to do a warrant on the house, or you have information there's a gun or warrant drug in home. And then we had, believe, from looking at Sarah here, because that was her world. We had 4 of those in December. So they're operational overtime call-outs essentially is what tends to spike beyond the shortages. It's going to be an operational, and typically through our either tactical team, crime suppression, or our forensics identification unit is where they work at.
So what we're noticing on top of that is like a lot of calls are coming in, and I know we all know this, but I was looking out and I think that guy's got a gun and he got in the car. Well, boom, we're all on, right? Because now you have a weapon out there and we have to get it. And I've noticed a little bit when I read the occurrences, like gun seen by such and such, boom, full-time response, not found, maybe found, but there's a lot more guns in the city. And obviously, if you want to be a drug dealer, you need a gun like a hammer to a carpenter. And it's something that we are concerned about, the amount of weaponry in the city, and we do our best. But it is an expensive call out because it's, for us, ESU, just for that month alone, for the true team was 24,000. As the deputy said, it's a full 12-person call out. That's adequacy and effectiveness. That's what we have to respond with. We can't do it any other way. So that gives you a little bit of flavor of where the overtime comes from, and it's usually spiked, like he said, from these individual occurrences that are long-term on overtime calls. Question, comments?
As you try to build out another platoon, I think my language is correct there.
Yeah.
Would that reduce the overtime because you'll have those additional people on shift?
Well, it's a varied response. When we have a gun call, that's not uniform. That's ESU coming out, and the number I just gave you is 24,000 of that was simply one unit. Yes, when you have more available, then there's less need to call out an overtime. However, the other night we had 2 major occurrences at once. So one was a young lady down at the waterfront that was considering suicide, and we also had the shooting. So you had 2 occurrences that are very serious. It takes a lot of manpower, person power. So call outs are going to occur there. Are you staffed up to deal with that all the time? Probably not, and you're going to get call outs. As we move down though, Mr. Mayor, it's a good question. People will always say to me, well, Chief, if you're adding two bodies per platoon, then technically you should have less callouts. Yes, but that takes about 18 months for those to be fully actualized, to be an independent officer to handle calls. So you will see less over time because we'll be properly staffed. A lot of times people ask, well, Chief, why do you need so many people? Well, 2 or 3 occurrences in this city that are 911s. As a chief, I have to make sure you have bodies responding to that call. If I get 2 or 3 at a time, that does stress us out. And that's where we see adequacy and effectiveness kick in. It's not necessarily, do you need that many people all the time, but you need them when the call occurs and you can't predict that. So we are relatively good where we go. I appreciate council. I appreciate the board giving us the opportunity to hire over time. And, as we manage attrition, as well as try to increase the service, we're managing. Okay, we'll go on to occurrence workload. And if you want to take me to what I do is we're going to do the year to date. So it's more holistic in numbers. So you can compare 24 to 23. If we look at the reportable occurrences, we're up 8.2%. Our total is 3.2, which is relatively even of 31,000 in 23 and 32,000 calls for service in 24. You want me to give you a minute to get to that sheet here? Everybody there? Or you can see it right here. When we do the crimes of violence, you'll see down the right-hand column, obviously, robberies went from 80 to 65, or down 20%. Our assaults went down 4% are relatively even. Our sexual assaults went down from 82 to 72 at 12%. And our increase, which is concerning and may have something to do with our follow-up project, went from 1257 to 1385 at a 10% increase between the 2 years. Crimes of property is a good news story. Break and enters are down 31% when you compare 542 and 23 to 372 this year. Our business B&Es are down 23%. Our residential are down 37%. Our attempts are down 50%. When you go down to theft of motor vehicle, we went from 112 to 74, or 34%. Attempts 2 to 1. Our theft occurrences are down. We had 2325 in 23, 1955 down 16%. Shoplifting, however, maintained 2% increase. Theft from motor vehicles has been down consistently over the past year from theft of motor vehicles from 577 to 382, or 34%. When we go to sudden deaths, down 10%. Impaired driving down from 24 to 16, or 33%. Bail violations stayed constant. Mental Health Act increases by 8%. So the reason I don't go month to month and to give you the full year, it's a better sort of overview of the occurrence, a little bit more thorough data. So we're going to go to IPV stats. So in the IPV, I think many of you are familiar that we, after March of 24, we instituted a new program where any IPV related offense, we would have officers call 2 or 3 days later. We would make sure the victim was okay. We asked that is there anything else that happened that you didn't want to tell us at the time, or now, or in the future? Yes, no. If it's a yes, we send a unit over and we investigate again or further. We also make sure they have a safety plan in place either way, and that they are familiar with the resources in our community that can assist them in this type of situation. And you know what, folks, it's been very successful. We've had 888, almost 900 call follow-ups since March of 24. Of those, we generated 38 new calls, and resulted in 9 individuals charged. Those are 9 individuals that would not have got charged if we hadn't put this in place. And I can tell you, we've had Inspector Dewar speak to the OPP IPV committee, and a variety of services have taken up our lead on it because they realize that we need to do more than just attend and then leave and everything's fine. Why not a simple follow-up call? Questions?
Yeah, thank you for that. The IPV numbers increasing. I mean, it's staggering that it's increasing at all. So I'm concerned, as I know the board is, and I know you are, Chief, I know the service is. Are those stats that you've given us on this high level, are they dissected or dissectable to things like, we're seeing that the IPV is mostly sexistly male on female? Do we see in different community groups that it's increasing? Is that kind of analysis going on for any of them, or not so much?
We could do that, Nuala. I'm sure we could delve down into the occurrence workload and determine gender. It's I would say, and help me out, Deputy, 90%, 95% male on female, which is consistent with the literature. In terms of other demographics, we can do that. And it's good knowledge. The question as a chief is, do we go to those communities and do we reach out and put more emphasis in to those communities in terms of education, which to me is partial solution to reducing this, because people need to be aware that they can call the police and that we're going to take them seriously. For certain populations, they may not feel that that's something they call the police about. I know our website, Lincoln, has fairly good, information around what to do in certain cases, safety planning, et cetera, but we can always do more. So the answer is yes.
But
We
the,
just have to pull down.
Yep.
Yeah.
but the numbers have grown since we introduced this program on intervention. I'm sure there's more people out there now well aware of, hey, I can call the police and I can tell them and they'll listen to me. And my question would be, how many of the 888 are repeats?
Yeah.
But the key is, the chief had mentioned a little earlier, we got 9 charges through there from maybe women who were afraid to call at first, but now it's becoming general knowledge. You know what? If a slap shooter comes after you, can call the police. They'll come here and they'll follow it up. And I think that's the key. It's not that they've came, okay, and settled it, but they'll follow you up in 3 or 4 days and say, hi, how are things, Nuala? Is everything okay at home? Is everything still safe? And that's adding, I think, to our numbers, and that's good.
Mhm.
You know, that's what it's there for.
Archie? Yeah, chief, yeah. The 900 follow-up calls, that's from March. The 38 new calls, is that for just the past month?
No, that's the total. That's out of the 888, that generated 38 new calls
Call service.
cumulatively since March,
And the 9 individual charges
are cumulative from March.
from the 888.
So out of the 38 new calls, 9 of those resulted in charges. So almost a quarter.
So, sir, just those 888 are where we went to, charge wasn't laid original.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so those are, we left with no charges, called back, and then there was 9 people said, yeah, I didn't tell you about this one.
Or it had nothing to do with that occurrence. It could have been done with another occurrence, or it could have been historical. And we have referred to other agencies
So
for
these
that.
9 individual charged, they're out in the street, it's still in the court system?
Yeah.
Do you follow up on that?
Well, they'd be, usually if they're released, they'd be subject to bail conditions, and we do have a bail, follow-up,
Compliance, yeah.
compliance check that we do. Now, we're in the process of, implementing the new bail compliance software from the ministry. And then we're, I think, next to go to get it implemented in the next few
Yes,
months.
they're doing it in,
And basically what that'll do is, in a nutshell, is when the officer attends a call on his or her phone, they'll see that there's people on bail around them geographically, and they can do the knock knock, how you doing? Are you following conditions? It's gonna, I believe, put people who are on bail aware of the fact that we're constantly checking, which improves public safety, and they follow the rules of the court. So a lot of good things are happening. It's an excellent question. And this bail compliance was started by, I believe, Toronto and Durham police, and the OPP have taken it over. And now it's across Ontario. And that could be both IPV or any charges that you're on bail for. It'll be indicated on your phone or your MDT in the car.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Okay, use of force report, Chief?
Okay, the use of force reports, easiest, I think, if you peek back there. So basically, we had 4 use incidents in November. We went up to 10 in December. That would explain some of the serious calls. It's in your package. I don't go through the entire 10 occurrences, but I think for the board purposes, it's important to know when we look at the entire year in terms of how we record use of force. You can see on the next page, Lincoln, at the bottom, you can see we're down 18%. We went from 167 use of force reports in 23 to 149. So we're down 18%, which is a good number in the sense that it means we have to use less force in the community when doing our jobs.
Down 18
Down 18%.
incidences.
Yeah, yes. Public complaints, we received, since the last board meeting, November 25, there's been 7 new complaints.
Before you start the letter, you wanna kind of, that's new.
Yeah, okay, the LECA, I don't know what the full name is.
Law Enforcement Complaints Agency.
Thank you. Law Enforcement Complaint Agency replaced OIRPD, which we're all familiar with. That's the provincial agency that independently you can complain to about the police. And as we discussed just before the meeting, they can refer it back to the police for investigation. They can give it to a third party, or they can do it themselves. And so in that process, we received 7 new complaints. Again, when we're looking at the totals, the total number of complaints for 2023 was 56. The total number of complaints in 24 was 48. So again, they're going down. So our use of force reports are going down. Our complaints against the police are going down. And that's good news in terms of professionalism of the service. Next report will be notes of appreciation. They're in front of you here. And so just take a couple of them. September, we received an entry on the website thanking Constable Ryan Venderman and Mackenzie Gurbich for their assistance for an individual who was battling addictions and required them to use their help to get them into detox. He's the victim in this case felt that they saved their life. In October, we received an entry on the website from an out-of-town landlord thanking for assistance with a local property and break-in. In October, another website thanking our very valuable part-time dispatchers who stopped to assist a motor vehicle collision with injuries when they're off duty. They had a huge amount of compassion for the people going through a traumatic situation. In October, we received an entry commending Constable Angela King and Chris Perry for interactions they had with them, calling them stars and asterisks. November, we received an entry on the website from an employee of the Sioux Area Hospital, commending Constable Tasson for being very kind and compassionate. In December, another entry thanking our officers for dealing with a vehicle breakdown. In December, complimentary letter from Sergeant Armstrong from M&R thanking Sergeant Boyle for assisting in training. So those are good things that certainly make us as command staff very proud of our people. Sometimes going above and beyond what they're regularly paid to do. Any comments?
I concur with the chief there. It's nice to see the compliments, and I hope that's passed down to the, the men and women in the street and the uniforms that gets that. The
Yeah,
board, as well as the chief and the senior officers, have a little bit of pleasure in seeing officers operate like that. out in the
Thank you,
street.
Chief. So next part, request for donation.
So item number 12 on your program, the stuffed dogs for cruisers, and you have approved every year 1,500, I believe. So the PUC puts forward $2,000 to help purchase stuffed canine dogs for the cruisers. Various studies have shown stuffed animals can help children cope with trauma, stress, fear, and even pain, and provide them emotional and physical comfort. Being able to provide these toys modeled after our own police service dogs, Hector and Red, is another way for our members to make a positive impact on the lives of the community. So the resolution from last time, we received the new dogs. We've amended it from 1,500 to 2,000 to match the PUC contribution. And you have a board resolution in front of you for the 2,000. There is one in my office if you want to see it.
Fair promise.
Oh, Lincoln, do you have anything to say on this since it came from you as well?
Yeah, this was about a year and a half ago when we did the initial. We had PUC agree to give us some money and the board generously did as well. Obviously, the program's been quite successful as our officers do deal with young people during tough times. So we want to make sure that our officers still have something to hand out to children during times of trauma, and these have been popular. Obviously, it's nice that they're modeled after our own police service dogs with their names and such on the vests, but yeah, we're happy that our officers have these available and want to continue that program moving forward with the board's approval.
I still move we give them.
Any other comment? And normally we look at all the requests that we get and we kind of decide which ones we would give. So this one was an old one. And, Owen, you know, move a seconder for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll second.
Resolved that the board approved the donation of $2,000 for the purchase of the stuffed dogs for children who are coping with trauma to be funded from the board's auction account. All in favor? Carried.
You know what that auction account is, eh, where they raffle all that stuff away that comes and it never gets
Picked up?
claimed. Yeah, so when that money gets added to that,
That comes to the
Account.
board.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just sitting there and there's a variety of things that are, that we donate to as part of the community. Except for the one cheap son of a gun on the board that denies most of it.
Okay, chief, Division 2 update.
So, I'm gonna let Inspector Dewar, he's been,
Doer with us.
very valuable in, managing this file. There's a lot of stuff going on from choose the location, from architects, from RFPs, and thank the mayor and the city for helping us in the RFP process. They're very helpful. And, so we are getting close to the end, and I'll let Inspector Dewar, just tell us, and we have a few pictures of, we couldn't bring you through, but we wanted to show you a little bit of what's about to happen. I'll let the right honorable go ahead.
Looks like my basement.
That's what you're.
So just, yeah, that'll be the front entry to the, into the building where the, two levels are. The duty officer will be seated behind there. So that's the counter. The lower part, there'll be a part that if somebody finds a wallet or something of that nature, they can hand it through. There'll be a slot there, for someone to hand it in. But since the last board meeting, obviously contractor was awarded, Jokes Construction was successful, in getting the contract. They've been fantastic to work with. The architect, Jokes in the city, went through the permits, for construction have all obviously been approved. The walls are going up. As you can see there, there's insulation going up. The drywall is on only one side in most places. That's so the inspections can be done to make sure that the plumbing and the wiring and everything's up to code. The doors and the frames are all going in. We're on schedule for end of March, beginning of April to be up and running. When that happens, CRC, Victim Services, Crime Stoppers, the traffic unit K9 will all be moving downtown. Sort of thing. So that picture there is of the, the framing for the walls for the change rooms upstairs. It'd be a locker room, change rooms, both male and female, obviously. As you can see, that's one of the hallways into around that corner will be a secure area for the firearms lockup.
Any questions or comments as he goes along?
They were just the 5 pictures.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So we should be in by April 1st.
We're anticipating it April 1st, provided there's no supply issues or anything, the tariffs and stuff that could, on the setback, hopefully not. But
Hopefully not.
right now, the contractor is online for end of March, beginning of April.
Perfect. Comments? Archie?
No, by Canadian.
By Canadian.
Apparently, yeah. So we do have a motion there, Mr. Chair.
It's a 2x4s.
So this is a financing motion, from Angela that we, move the 388,000 of unused funds for the renovations for Division 2 that were not spent in the 24 budget to the 25 budget to allow payments to be made. I'll leave it with you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I need a mover and a seconder.
Come on.
Mover in, seconder,
No, I got it.
new one. Be it resolved that the board approve the 388,000 of the unused funds for the renovation to Division Two contained within the 2024 budget be reallocated to the capital reserve fund to be used to fund said renovation in 2025. All in favor? Approved. Any further questions or comments before we call it a day?
Can we just have a quick chat about the next meeting date?
Yes.
So normally it would fall on February 26th, the last Wednesday of the month. But both John and the chief will be away at the POA Labor Conference, which is a big event every year.
Need to get in on June.
So I would assume you'd want to hold it the following week, which would be March 5th.
Okay, that's a good one.
No, that one doesn't work for you.
No, he's in Florida. No,
Okay.
I'm only guessing, but.
Yes.
But you can call into these meetings, yeah?
Yes,
You can,
yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
but I leave on the 4th, so.
No, I wasn't giving you a hard time. I was just
No.
wondering if,
It's okay.
How long's the POA conference?
It runs from the 25th to the 27th. So the 24th is a travel day, and then provided weather is okay, they'll usually come back on the 27th. It'll end like
Yeah.
at noon and come back that afternoon.
Yeah.
Why don't we do the third?
What day is the third?
The
Monday,
Monday.
the third.
Day.
We don't have council.
At 1 o'clock?
Monday at 1 o'clock.
Monday's always a good day for me.
Mondays are good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
You kept it open since your council takes.
When's the next date? March?
March 3rd.
Weekend's too short, what have you.
I'll put that out in an email. Or Lisa will put it out in an email, whoever's.
Yes, and Lula, Matt, would you like copies? Like,
No, I'm good.
you're good?
Yeah,
Matt,
perfect.
you're
Yeah,
good?
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
March the 3rd, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, mover to adjourn. Archie and Matt. Resolve that the meeting is now adjourned. And we will. Next meeting will be March 3rd, 2025. And thank you to our new members.